Arch Advocate Show, welcome back, welcome back. It is a time travel Thursday. I'll circle back around to that. Hey, everybody, good news. Good news. The Democrats have finally figured it out. California Democrats, which is, California is like the cerebral cortex of liberal, progressive, like left-wing mentality manifesting in political players, right? Governor Jerry Brown. Listen, I'm not going to go into it right now, but you should look into the history of Jerry Brown. He was the governor of California once before, not well liked. Somehow he became governor again, but that's old news now because now we have a new governor-elect Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom. You got to keep in mind this guy is going to be running one of the world's largest economies. Do you understand that? Like if California broke away, which by the way it could never do, but if California broke away, I think it would be like the third or fourth largest economy in the world, or the seventh, or something like that. It would be massive. So massive. The most of the food in the United States comes from California. It's a very important state. And Gavin Newsom is going to be in charge of it, right? He's been in charge of large swaths of people before. He was the mayor of San Francisco. As a matter of fact, he was mayor of San Francisco from 2004, right, to 2011. Actually, let me see here, because he was still mayor. 42nd mayor to 2011 January. What was he doing from 2011 until today? I don't even know. But anyways, Gavin Newsom, when he left San Francisco, the condition that he left it in, literally left it covered in human feces. Now he's going to be running the state. So he used to run San Francisco, which is one of the world's largest port cities. When he left that place, it was covered in human feces. So much human feces, in fact, that somebody had the brilliant idea of like, hey, let's make an app for that. Right? Like so many people need a cab ride that they had to create an app for that. So many people are lonely and want to meet a member of the opposite sex, and so they have an app for that. Tinder or whatever. There's so much human feces in San Francisco that somebody created an app for that. That's how much. It's not a joke either. It's not something that somebody did as a goof. Gavin Newsom left San Francisco covered in human feces. And now he's going to be running the state of California. So, good luck with that. But what I'm getting at here is just the elephant in the room. The text message tax. All right, now you've heard about this recently. California, it hasn't happened yet, but California is proposing a text message tax. Okay, now here's the thing. This is what's hilarious, right? Communism is what happens when socialists finally understand that they're about to run out of other people's money. All right, communism is the next step. It's like, well, we're going to run out of everybody's money. So I tell you what, why don't you just go to work and we're just not going to pay you anything. You just do the work and we'll keep all the money and then we'll finally have enough money. That is the difference between socialism and communism. Communism is socialism with a gun, right? So let's get into our time machine and go back so that we can get a clear idea of how ridiculous this is. Because there's a lot of things, you hear these liberals and you ask them like, okay, so now you're proposing a cell phone text message tax because you're running out of other people's money. So what's next? Is there going to be like an amusement tax? Oh, Pete, don't be ridiculous. Oh, actually, there's an amusement tax in Chicago. Is there going to be a running tax? An exercise tax? So if I have a gym membership, I have to pay an extra tax. Oh, Pete, don't be ridiculous. You're talking conspiracy theory, crazy Alex Jones, flat Earth, Steph Curry saying we never went to the moon. You're talking like a crazy person. Okay, oh really? Really, let's just go back in our little time machine, in our mind. Let's just go back 5 years, right? Hey, Pete, what do you think would be the most ridiculous tax? Like, well, what if you were, I don't know, what if the liberals came up with a tax to where every time you sent a text message, you would be taxed? Pete, don't be ridiculous, right? What if I said to you that, what if we went back 15 years and I said, no, listen, if we allow gay people to be married, they're going to send pedophiles into our public schools and public libraries to read to our children who are 5 to 7 years old. Oh, Pete, don't be ridiculous. Right? Like, let's just go back in our time machine and look at it from that perspective. Liberals would say, Pete, don't be ridiculous. Just trying to let gay people get married. You're talking about, conspiracy theory. Who's the Jesse Ventura conspiracy theories? Like, what are you, Jesse Ventura? Why are you talking this nonsense? Okay, this is what happens. And let's put this in the let's put the California text message tax. We have to try to put this into context, right? Like, let's look at France, right? France is on fire right now because the people have had enough. Finally, the people of France are realizing, like, oh, you outnumber these assholes by a long shot, right? You can stand up to these people. And they did, and Macron now is scrambling. But let's look at that. What happened? What caused that, right? Well, since America pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, France all of a sudden didn't have a whole bunch of free dough coming from the United States because they're a bunch of moochers. They're beggars, right? Emmanuel Macron is a mooching beggar. And when Donald Trump said, yeah, you know what, we're not going to do this anymore. This is stupid. We're not doing it. See you later. And the whole world said, oh no, the climate's going to burn up and we're all going to die because Donald Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord. What that did was it forced liberals to make an argument. Just like the gender pay gap. Like, oh, women only make 77 cents or whatever on the dollar. And when that issue, when they started pressing that issue, it's like, okay, well, make your argument. What are you saying? Why is it that women make less money? And then a whole bunch of liberals went to work on it and they're like, oh no. Oh, it turns out that women actually choose jobs that don't pay as much as other jobs. Turns out that women tend to leave the workplace due to childbirth, and therefore they don't, they cease earning. And there was a whole reason there, and all of a sudden liberals, they don't argue that anymore. And if they do, and there's still a few purple-haired ones left that do argue it, you know what they say now? Because the facts are so solid. The facts say, no, there's a very normal, very easy to understand reason why women make less at the end of your life. Women make less than men, and here's all the very good reasons why that happens. But the people that argue with it is like, well, it's because of the patriarchy. Women tend to care more about people, and men tend to care more about things because of the patriarchy. It's like, okay, well, now that's not an argument. Take me to the office of the patriarchy. Take me to the office of the president of the patriarchy, and I will fight alongside with you. But until then, you can shut up. You're just a crazy purple-haired fat lady that's talking nonsense, and I don't want to hear it, so goodbye. It's the same thing that happened with the Paris Climate Accord. Donald Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, and it forced liberals to make their case. Why are we giving you all of this money? Why do I, over here in America, well, I'm not in America right now, but you know what I'm saying. Like, why do I have to take these tax dollars of mine and give it to you? What am I getting for my money? How is you taxing me fixing the environment? And they would say, oh, well, look at all the advancements that China has made. And it's like, okay, well, let's look at them. What advancements have they made to better the climate situation in China? Furthermore, China is the second largest economy in the world. Do they not have their own money? Why are they mooching off of us? Do they not have their own money? And what is it that my money has done in China to fix the environment? Oh, well, they've made agreements. They've made agreements, don't you know, that in 30 years they're going to reduce their carbon emissions by such and such and such. So not now. So then let's go back to, what did my money buy me? You taxed me, where did it go? And then the liberals found themselves choking on the fact that, oh, this was just going to politicians to pay for God knows what. Because it certainly didn't go to fix the environment, right? So here comes Emmanuel Macron and he says, oh, well, the Americans aren't giving us any more money. So I need to have that money, man. I got to fix the environment. Don't you know that the environment's going to burn up? If you don't give me your tax money, we're all going to die. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the tax on gasoline, unleaded fuel, right? Or as they say in Europe, petrol. I'm going to raise the tax on petrol. So this is why, like, you have to laugh. You have to laugh at these communists because it will, number one, because if you don't, you'll cry. But you have to laugh because it's like, no matter what you people do, these communists, what they do, no matter what they do, they paint themselves into a corner. It's like, okay, so by you taxing me on gasoline, what is it that you're trying to accomplish by doing that that's going to help the environment? This is the rub. Now, Emmanuel Macron and all of his politician buddies, they all have to answer, well, naturally, this is going to discourage people from purchasing petrol or unleaded gasoline. Oh, I see. So taxation is a way to discourage a certain type of behavior. I see. So wouldn't an income tax, wouldn't that discourage people from working? Wouldn't a vacation tax discourage people from taking a vacation? Since you're saying that you're trying to discourage the usage of unleaded gasoline, then you're saying that taxation is a good way to discourage a certain type of behavior. Check and mate. Right? This is the problem with these liberals. So California is talking about a text message tax. This is hilarious because California is the most taxed of all American people. Nobody pays more taxes than we do. We get taxed on everything. If it moves, if it's there, there is, like when I was talking about vacation tax, there actually is a vacation tax, and it is, I want to say it's 10%. If you stay in a hotel, be it a Motel 6 or the Hilton, the Beverly Hilton or whatever, it's like 10%. So if your bill is $100, well, now it's $110. It's a vacation tax. It's literally a vacation tax. Why would you do that? Right? Why would you discourage people from coming to California? Why would you tack on another 10%? When you already know that, one ticket to Disneyland's $100, and if you've got a family of 5, then you're screwed. Why would you do that? This is the thing, so let me get this straight. We produce the most food of anybody. We produce the most technology of anybody. We're the richest place in the world. And yet you don't have enough money in tax money, right? So you have to keep taxing everybody else. And on top of that, year after year, the state goes even further into debt. So you're not even close to paying your bills. How much longer, you know what I mean? Like on that scale, it's like, well, we're taxing the piss out of everybody. Property tax in California, the state property tax is different. The sales tax, vacation tax, luxury tax, tax on everything, and coming to a theater near you, text message tax. We already have a gas tax, which more than doubles the price of a gallon of gasoline, which, by the way, is strange because California has its own refineries. We have our own ports. Like the cost of shipping is dramatically reduced in the case of California. And yet, we pay over twice because of the gas tax. So not only is the liberal government taxing the piss out of everybody not enough, the state continues to go into debt, right? Which means that there are even more ridiculous things coming in the future to tax. Do you understand that? That's how severe the problem is, and eventually they're going to come to the realization like, oh, we just need to make it so that people go to work and do their job and be productive and produce, but don't make any money because we need all the money. And we need to keep these people fueled with this fear that the environment is burning up. The global warming, the climate change scam is it's one of the most brilliant of all scams because it's the stupidest one, right? Here's the thing. Maybe the climate is changing and maybe it is caused by humans, but if it is, then clearly the people in charge have no idea like what's actually happening. Because their answer to everything is always more tax money. Hey, the sun is going to kill everybody because the polar ice caps are going to melt, and then there's going to be famine and floods and waste, and just all the, pestilence and the four horsemen of the apocalypse. It's like, okay, well, what's your solution? Give me some more money. Give me some more of your money. Let me obligate you to pay me more money. It's like, how does that fix the environment? Well, just trust me. Trust me. I'm a politician. I know what I'm doing. I'm smart and you're stupid. That's their only solution to climate change is more tax money. It's always the same. It's more tax money. Well, we need this money so that we can put money, we can put money into researching alternative sources of fuel. It's like, okay, well, you've been scaring people with this story for as long as I can remember. And I can remember a lot because I'm 45. So what advancements have you made? Oh, well, we put up some wind mills, those wind generators, those big fans in Palm Springs. They're powered by the wind. We put some of those up. Did you know that those operate at a loss? Oh, we've got some solar energy. Do you know that solar energy is completely inefficient? Right? You should look at the stats. Solar power is good, but it's not. You can't power an entire house and a heated pool and like a jacuzzi and if you wanted to have like a normal like house with a bunch of like nice things on it, it would take, you would have to have, there was some rich guy, I can't remember his, I want to say it was Glenn Beck, and he tried to go completely solar and he couldn't do it. And that guy's got like unexhaustible wealth. He's like, man, I just kept having to buy more and more and more solar panels, and I had to buy more land to put the solar panels on, and the whole thing completely collapsed. Like it's not efficient. Germany was just boasting like, oh, we're totally solar now, and like they ended up shooting themselves in the foot like badly recently, like last year. It doesn't work. And when you ask them like, well, what are you doing with my tax dollars? It's like, oh, it went for the environment, man. Like that's our big thing. It's the environment. Global warming, man. What are you, a science denier? And it's like, then you start finding out like, well, what were you doing to protect the environment? Oh, we were studying the smelt migration in the American River out of Sacramento. It's like, what does that have to do with the environment? Dude, just trust, like I'm a politician, just trust me. This is the folly of these communists. And the thing is that I'm trying to get you to like see the comedy in it, because the other thing is tragic. Tragic is what you see right now in France. That's the end result. Eventually you're gonna push the people too far. And that's what Emmanuel Macron has done. He got found out on his BS, right? President Trump, sorry about that, everybody. President Trump left the Paris Climate Accord, and it forced those people, these communists, to show and prove. So what have you been doing with my money? And as the liberals dug into it, it was like, oh, this money was just going nowhere. It was just going to these politicians so that they could continue to fly privately around the world and scare everybody about this global warming. And this is why you need to give me more money. If you give me money, I will save the planet. Okay, all right, I'm with you so far. How? Oh, well, we're gonna do some research. Nope, not good enough. Not good enough. You mean to tell me that these professors who are telling you that the climate is dying, they can't go and figure out a way to come up with an alternative source of fuel, an alternative source of energy? What are these, the greediest people who ever lived? Why don't they work for free? And you're a socialist. Why don't these scientists who you believe in so much, why don't they work for free to save the planet? Are they greedy? Are they selfish? You know what I mean? It's dumb. And the stupidity of it is like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is where you find the comedy in it, is like the stupidity just keeps going up and up and up. Oh, we need to give you a gas tax to fix the roads. The roads don't get fixed. We go and we ask questions. And what do they say? What are you, a science denier? We need that money for the environment. It's like, dude, you said you were going to fix the roads. You lied. And Gavin Newsom, governor of California, you left your last post covered in shit. Now California is going to be covered in shit. And covered in homeless people and drug addicts. And what are you saying? Let's bring more people in who have no skills and who just want to come into our system and get on our welfare and get that free health care. Let's get more. It's like, dude, you can't afford what you already have. You're over there talking about taxing people for sending text messages. That's how broke you are. And you left San Francisco covered in human feces. Now you're talking about a text message tax. What's next? If I would have asked a liberal about that 5 years ago, they would have said, Pete, you're being ridiculous. Being silly. What are you talking about? A text message tax? Now again, hasn't happened yet. But just remember, right? Just remember California's history. Remember the fact that, like, in Chicago, they literally have an amusement tax. It's used on video games and, online platforms. Oh, are you being amused right now? You owe me some money. That's a thing. That's a thing that's happened. You go over to Europe and here's Emmanuel Macron as people are revolting against him because he said, listen, I need to fix the environment. Great, how are you going to do that? You're going to need to pay me more money. Every time you use gasoline, you have to pay me some money. It's like, okay, well, it's time to pull the guillotine out, I guess. That's not just, that's not the only very bizarre occurrence that's going on right now. Like, in Europe and in the United Kingdom, you're not allowed to send memes that hurt the feelings of leftists. If it hurts a leftist's feelings, you can go to jail. That's what's going on, the restriction of freedom of speech. And if you would have gone to England, or gone to Germany, or Holland, or any of these places 10 years ago, 2008, or 2009 almost, not long ago, just 10 years ago, and you said, hey, listen, just want to tell you, these politicians that you like so much, Angela Merkel, and this guy, and that lady, and that dude, in 10 years, they're going to make it so that if you say things that are offensive to their base, to their political base, to their voters, they will throw you in jail. They will come and wearing jackboots and kick down your door, haul you off to jail. You would say, Pete, that is some 1984 bullshit. You need to stop watching so many movies and reading so many books about the apocalypse. You need to calm down, dude. Here, eat this Snickers bar. Why? Because when you get hungry, you turn into Jesse Ventura. Wait a minute, reverse. Right? Calm down, Pete. You're talking crazy. That's happening. It's happening right now. And it's crazy. And you have to laugh at it, because the reason I say laugh at it is one, because there's a lot of tragedy coming. There's going to be a lot more bloodshed. There's already been quite a bit, but not to the scale that it historically tends to reach. You just had China go into a Christian church in China and arrest everybody for illegally running a Christian church. That's happening in China. All right, you think that these liberals, it's like, oh no, man, like that, the Holocaust, man, and Maoist China and Stalin's Russia, like that could never happen again. It's happening right now. It is happening right now. It's happening right now. Okay? You think that you're protected from all of these horrors of the human condition because that was a long time ago, man. Like, we're enlightened now. We got the internet. We've been to Mars. We put vehicles on Mars. We're better now. It's like, no. It's still happening to this day. Now you have politicians in Europe who are throwing people in jail for posting funny pictures that are offensive to their voting base. You've got Emmanuel Macron who Big Daddy Trump cut him off from his allowance, so he decided to bully his people and steal their milk money. And the people are like, oh no, Macron, there's one of you, there's millions of us. And look at the, remember, escalation. I make this point over and over again. Like, you have to monitor the escalation, because these people, Emmanuel Macron, Obama, Clinton, these people, they are addicted to power. They don't seek to better humanity. They desire more. That's the only thing they want, is more. More power, more money, more influence. All they want is more. And so they will continue to, they're not going to stop until they're put down. These people are not going to stop. They just want more power. And so they escalate and escalate and escalate. So that the next thing you know, Emmanuel Macron is calling in the military. Okay, did you see the footage of France? Right? In Paris and whatever, like where there were those vehicles that have tires, but they're like a tank. It's an armored vehicle with tires. Okay, that's called a LAV, a light armored vehicle. That's the kind of unit that I served in when I was in the Marine Corps. I was with 3rd Light Armored Reconnaissance out of 29 Palms. That's back then. My commanding officer was at the time Lieutenant Colonel Bob Neller, who is now one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That guy, I know that guy. Not a good guy, by the way. But that's the kind of unit I was in. Let me tell you something about those vehicles. Like, when you pull up in one of those vehicles, it's so that you can kill people without the threat of you yourself getting killed. That's an armored vehicle. It's got like 2.5 inches of galvanized, whatever, plated steel. Like, it's thick. You can't, if you had a 50 caliber machine gun with armored piercing rounds, you still could not penetrate that vehicle. Those vehicles are for assault. They're not for defense, they're for assault. And they bear the symbol of the European Union. Emmanuel Macron literally called in the military on his own citizens. In the United States, that's why we can't have the military. We can only have the National Guard, which is, even that's kind of a, oh boy, I don't know about that. But you cannot deploy the military on U.S. soil. Only in defense. Like, you can deploy it to the southern border, you can deploy it to the coast, you know what I mean? Or if somebody's invading you, like if there's an actual war, then you can deploy. If there's war on U.S. soil, then you can deploy the military against your enemies. But, you know what I mean? The reason why that's such a big deal is because, boy, once you pop the cork on that one, it's over. That's why we have that law. Once you decide to unleash the military on your own citizens, then you are in the midst of a civil war. Emmanuel Macron called the military on his own people. Which means if this situation is not resolved quickly, then this situation is going to continue to be resolved in blood and war, civil war. Escalation. Right? Escalation. Donald Trump says this whole thing is BS. This Paris Climate Accord, it's all BS. I'm leaving. So what does Macron do? Does he sit down and think, yeah, you know what? We've been giving free money to China for a long time and they're not doing anything. We're not getting any bang for our buck. So I tell you what, Donald Trump, you're right. You're absolutely right. No more money for China. No, that's not what he did. He escalated. He said, well, if this bully's going to take my money, well, I'm just going to bully you and take your money. And so then the people responded in kind and they escalated. And instead of Macron looking at his people and going, boy, you know what? I really screwed up here. Oh, geez. I didn't realize I was going to piss so many people off. I'm sorry. Sorry, France. You know what? Let me get a takesy-backsy. Right? Let me get a take back. No take backsies. Let me get a take back. I'm sorry, everybody. Never mind. No, that's not what he did. He escalated. Called in the military. It's just going to get worse, people. It's just going to get worse. It's going to get more crazy. And you have to understand, like, the comedy in it all, the thing that you must see is how inept and stupid these people are. The idea that you can take somebody who's made a career out of winning a popularity contest. Bernie Sanders is not an economist, nor is he a philosopher, nor is he a scholar. He's nothing. He's just a hippie that just didn't want to do anything except for get a government job that paid really well. Right? What has he done? Like, does anybody dispute that? Is he a successful businessman? Is Gavin Newsom? Gavin Newsom's listed as a businessman. What business? What business was it? Were you successful? Right? Why is it that you left San Francisco covered in shit? That would tell me that when you were a businessman, here, let's see here. Newsom attended Redwood High School and graduated from Santa Clara University. After graduation, he founded the Plump Jack Wine Store with family friend Gordon Getty as an investor. The Plump Jack Group grew to manage 23 businesses, including wineries, restaurants, and hotels. Newsom began his political career in 1996 when the mayor, Willie Brown, appointed him to serve on the city's Parking and Traffic Commission as a member of the Board of Supervisors in the following year. So, I see. So you ran a business that, Plump Jack Wine Store. And that grew, and then it became a management company? That's weird. So how did the original store go? How did those businesses go? Why is it that you decided to leave, the world of hardworking entrepreneurship and decided to go into politics? Why is it that you left San Francisco literally covered in shit? No. You have to understand, you have to look at these people and laugh. Here's Barack Obama. This was in 2012, right? The leader of the free world. This is a guy that surely he knows things, right? After all, Barack Obama heralded in the age of no more racism, right? Because a whole bunch of white people, like white America, voted this black man in. Hallelujah, racism is over. That's what it means, right? Here's the guy who ended racism in the world and won a Nobel Peace Prize for it. Barack Obama in 2012, he said, quote, "Even if we drill every square inch of this country right now, we're going to be relying on other countries for oil," end quote. Well, surely a man of his great knowledge and his pedigree, and the fact that he ascended to the highest office in the world and in the history of the world. He ascended to that level. He must be really smart. He must have access to scientists who told him that, and surely scientists are never wrong. Even if we drilled every square inch of this country right now, we would still, what he's saying is that if we squeezed every drop of oil out of America, we would still rely on other countries for oil. Even if we squeezed every drop of it out right this very minute at our current usage. Then Donald Trump comes along in 2016. He says, under my presidency, we will accomplish a complete American energy independence. Everybody laughed. They said, oh, orange man, didn't you hear the smartest man in the world, Barack Hussein Obama? He told you that even if we pulled every drop of oil out of the ground on U.S. soil in Alaska, we would still need other countries' oils. Well, the U.S. just became a net oil exporter for the first time in 75 years. We don't need other people's oil. He was wrong. Dead wrong. That's the kind of clowns who are in politics. That's why we needed somebody who was not one of them. Right? Donald Trump's a businessman. He just wants to make money. Good. Yeah, get that guy in there. Just get him in there. No more of this bullshit. Like, stop. You know what I mean? These people are morons. Oh, we don't have any more. Hey, listen, we're just gonna tweak healthcare just a little bit. Don't worry, you're gonna pay less money. You're still gonna keep your doctor. Everything's gonna be the same. Everything's gonna be exactly the same, and you're gonna pay less money. And from now on, people who need health insurance will get it. I mean, with that kind of deal, you would be a monster if you said no, you didn't want that. That's what Barack Obama said. Keep your doctor, you're going to pay less money, and on top of all that, all these poor, unfortunate victims are going to have health insurance. So it's a win, win, and win. Is that how it worked out? Do you guys remember? All right? Hey, California, we're just gonna raise the tax on your gasoline just a smidge, man. There's 40 million of us. This is gonna pay for itself real quick, just a smidge. And it's gonna fix the roads. Well, double the price of gasoline for Californians later. The roads still aren't fixed, and the money has disappeared into the general fund somewhere. And now Gavin Newsom is talking about a text message tax. And it's just going to get crazier. Right? So try to think of like the most absurd thing that you could tax and write it to me. And keep it in mind so that the rest of us in the community, we can go to our liberal friends and say, what would you say if the liberals, if your fellow liberals suggested a tax on X? Right? Like what's something that you do every day that that you could be taxed on? I don't know, like running or walking or buying tennis shoes or you know what I mean, like whatever, like you know what I mean, like let's come up with like some ridiculous thing like a text message tax. Unfortunately, that one is now taken by the liberals. So that we can go to our liberal friends and say, well, what if it came to this? Would you then understand that these people are full of crap? And they would say, oh, sure, Pete, sure. If anything like that ever happened, I would say, yes, you're right and I'm wrong. Right? Just like if you went to the time machine, went back 10 years and said, well, what if I told you, or like, what if I'm right? What if 10 years from now, in the year 2018, there's going to be registered sex offenders dressed up like demons, reading books to small children about being transgender? If you saw that, would you then believe that I know what I'm talking about? Well, sure, Pete, if I saw that, but obviously you're just talking crazy. Okay, fine. So, but if it does happen, then you will know that I'm onto something, that I'm right? Okay, Pete, I'll see you in 10 years. In 2018, you can come to me, and I'm gonna laugh my ass off at your expense because you're talking nonsense. So what else what other tax could it be? Would it be more? You know what I mean? How about more? How about more gas tax? Why don't we tax it even more? Well, Pete, no, I mean, it's already, I mean, these people, you know, they can't raise it anymore. They just started talking about a text message tax. You think every other liberal politician in America isn't looking at that going right now, going, that sounds legit. Well, I don't need to think about that. Right? Taxation is a way of discouraging people from doing things. That's what it's for. Right? Why is there a property tax? To discourage you from owning property. Right? Why is there an income tax? To discourage you from working. Why is there an unleaded fuel tax? To discourage you from buying unleaded fuel. Why? Oh, it's bad for the environment, man. Don't you care about the environment? What are you, some sort of science denier? That's who these people are, and they will kill their own citizens to maintain their power. Look at Emmanuel Macron. He just called the military in on his own people. That happened, and that's the show for today. If you want to support the show, go on to archadvocate.com and use PayPal. By the way, I gotta talk about Patreon. Patreon did some really crazy stuff to Sargon of Akkad, which is it? Anyways, what's that guy's real name? Chuck or something? I can't remember. But there was some screwy stuff there, and we need to talk about it. But I think I'll get to that maybe tomorrow. That's the show. If you want to support the show, I certainly would appreciate it. Thanks again to Bad Wolf for yesterday's drop in the old tip jar, which is PayPal. It's PayPal me/archadvocate, I think, or you can just go on to archadvocate.com and the PayPal link is right there. Thank you for that. Please make sure to hit subscribe, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.